And I appreciate everyone for showing up. We are in Principles of Business. This is Business 2213. This class is not a bad class. There are a few niggles we need to go over and make sure that we understand how things work. Because each class is individually made. I just got done with business math. It's still Cengage, just like everything here is, but they use a different platform. Business Principles still uses Cengage. You go to MindTap, but they also have a platform called Applia that's integrated in it, and so it works a little bit different. And so we'll just go through that. So we'll look on our Principles of Business here. This is what I see. Yours looks a little bit different. I just want to make sure, look at everybody here. If you go to people, you can see everyone in your class. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many people do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so that's what I remember. We have 15. We have 10 to 15 here. That's pretty good for an online class. And if you show up to the online class, you automatically get your 25 attendance and participation points. If you don't up, I will have the video up. You do a 300-page summary on that video, and you can go ahead and get your points as well. You will find that, and let me go ahead and go back to home here. And I'm going to go to our student view so you guys can see what you guys see. We can work under student. Now, that's the cover of the book. That is accessible on Cengage. We'll look at that here in just a little bit. On the left side, you have your home, which is where at now, syllabus. Oh, shoot. Thank you, Elise. People who have had me before know how scatterbrained I can be. All right. I wonder why things didn't look right. So, to repeat myself, this is what you see when you come into the class. This is the home page. You can also, on the left side, you have syllabus, modules, discussions, assignments, grades, and people. Now, some of these things you're going to see are on this home page more than once. Syllabus is here. Syllabus is also here. Your Zoom link is here and also down here, and this tells you when the class is. Only in one place do you have the course expectations. You have a picture of me, which is should take you to instructor information, which is also here. So why my picture not up there? Look at that. I'll fix that. Usually you'll see my big old head here, but these are my contact information. Office phone is not the best way to get to me. I'm only there Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. I work from home on Thursdays and Fridays, but emailing me is best. This is also my Google number for text and call. You can text me and call me at any time. I say if you just have a regular question or you need something done, email me. That's the best way to go. If it's super important, text or call this number. It's routed to my cell phone, so that should not be a problem. Everybody, I don't know how many people have actually been on campus. Laura, since you were here, did you ever go on campus?
Yeah, I went there one time.
Okay.
And it
And
was right before I
so,
moved back up here to Wyoming.
all right. So you can always find me if I'm here on 274. Office hours are usually 8 to 3:30 Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. If you need to meet me in the office outside those times, let me know, and I will make sure I am there. Except if it interferes with like this class. I usually leave on Mondays at 3:30, get home about 4:30, so I can grab a sandwich, come in, get everything set up and ready to go, and then open the class about 5:45. So I try not to leave too late on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. I have a pretty open schedule, and then even on a Thursday, if I need to drive up, I don't mind. I've been known to do that before. We can also do Zoom calls or telephone calls if you have, a need of a little bit of tutoring. So there's plenty of ways to do it, and don't feel like you can't utilize them, because you 100,000% can. So there we go. Also, we have the syllabus here. My syllabus is missing. Somebody's been messing around in my class. I'm going to get them. Well, you will have a syllabus there. And when you do, it's going to reflect the new late policies for homework. See, what else do we have here? We have my Facebook page. This is Facebook just for Community Care College. You can always go on there. We have two, I do put an article here, 21 tips for online courses. We'll go kind of through that real quick. Most of you have had me before. I've seen this before, and I know it's going to be kind of boring and repetitive. I always remember going through college, the first day of class was always going through the syllabus and expectations. And it was, even if you had the teacher 2 or 3 times, it was still the same thing for the first class every single time. So I apologize. I know what you guys are going through, but them's the breaks, kids. Also, there's a video here I really like by Dr. Jordan Peterson. Here's why it's so bloody hard to sit down and get work done. He is a very divisive figure politically, but he is also a clinical psychology professor and practicing clinical psychologist out of the University of Toronto. What he does here, he kind of gives you the quick psychological 5-minute explanation of why it's so hard to sit down and make yourself do things. He doesn't give you any answers, because I think the way to combat that is usually individualized by the person. But this gives you kind of a breakdown of the inner workings, maybe so you're not alone in your endeavor of not being able to stay on task and wanting to making it so difficult to do whatever you have to do, and especially sitting down and studying and doing homework. So that's just one of those little videos I like to show. I think it's pretty great. Okay, so back to the left side here. Ma'am?
So I thought they called that ADHD.
Well, some people do. Some people just like Ritalin. I don't know. But wow, I got distracted by ADHD now. Sorry. Also, there's a section called modules. This has everything in your course, your syllabus, instructor information. You can get to Cengage, your student dashboard from here. Your online classroom. This is where if you don't make it to class and you need to see the video and turn it in, you will click here, and that is where you will find it. There will be a video link here, and then you have multiple ways of uploading it. Just 300-word summary, it says 200, should be 300. I didn't change that. So a 200-word summary on the class. Now, and I don't really grade that hard. I just want to make sure you saw it and were paying attention. So it's pretty much, if you turn it in and it's passable, then we'll just get our points. But you get your points for showing up, so you don't have to worry about that now. This breaks everything down by week. Week 1, what's due on Wednesday, what's due on Sunday. Week 2, what's due on Wednesday, what's due on Sunday, and on and on and on. Now, here is my soapbox discussions. And I know everyone has heard this speech in one form or another, but ladies, and I think it's all ladies in here, ladies, please, for the love of God, I'm on my knees begging, do your discussions. They are 25% of your grade. They are not really difficult to do. They are broken down into two parts. On your discussion 1-1 here, due on Wednesday will be your main post on this discussion. You come down here and you'll just do it. Due on Sunday are two peer replies to someone else's decision. I am working on trying to also do the discussions to kind of maybe kickstart things every week. Now, I do grade a little bit on spelling, grammar, punctuation, sentence structure, things of that nature. I'm not a grammar Nazi by any means, but and I don't count off a lot. But you'll see now a lot of people get 30s because there's always some mistakes in there. Because we want to try really hard to be able to communicate what we're doing effectively, and just using the proper English and language structure and spelling and grammar and things of that nature, just to get used to communicating to people in groups. One of the things I always say is when you go to work, and a lot of you guys, nobody's my age, but who's had jobs in office environment before will surely know that what they look for is, number one, you can communicate effectively, especially these days over email, and then also in person, and then also if you want to, you can add two numbers together. You can do basic math. If you can do those things, it's not so bad for you. And so I like to working on the writing communication aspect, and making sure we have at least some basic math skills as well, because that helps to just through life. But please do your discussions. You'll see here's kind of the grading rubric, and so you have a potential total of 30 points now, and I did this earlier. Is if you get 30 points, it's 100%, 29 is 97, and on and on and on and on. So like if you get 20 points for just doing the original post and you don't do any peer post, the best you can do is a 67. Okay. You don't see too many 30s, but you'll see a lot of these grades will be between 27 and 29. And you'll see my grading, the way I grade it is a little weird. You might have a 29.2 or 28.6 or a 27.8. And that usually has to do with the grading of the grammar, punctuation, spelling, things of that nature, because I just take off little bits for that. So if you have any questions, this is how it works. Now also, and you just see how your grade will reflect. If you don't do anything, you get a 0, 1 point get you a 3%, and on and on and on and on. If you have any, if you want to see this, I'm considering, and I'll talk about another spreadsheet I'm considering trying to make and send out to you guys so you can keep an eye on your total grade. Because let's get the grades here in a minute. Assignments, just another tab. This gives you all your upcoming assignments. You see there's a due date on each one of these. And so week ends with a week 1 test. Oh, no, I didn't mean to do that. So all your upcoming assignments in order will be under assignments. And once they're graded, they will pop up here. Now, when your assignment is due and you get points for it, okay, you will receive your grade. and your total grade will reflect what's due at that point. It doesn't reflect overall. That's why I think I was sending a spreadsheet so you guys can kind of keep, if you want to, keep it on your grade. Because come week 1, you may have a 90, but you don't do anything for week 2, and then suddenly your grade is going to drop to a 45. You're going to wonder why I had a 90, a week ago. Well, that's because these grades have not been counted into your average yet. So sometimes I like to send that. I'll try to send that spreadsheet out so you can know where you stand overall at that point. Any questions on the grades or when things are due? Nope. So everybody should have already been through this before. And of course, you can find your people on here. There's 15 of you. Cool part. Click on them. No, nothing there. Sometimes people add their email address. I will tell people that I know on these distance education classes, study groups are probably not the easiest thing to do. But if you can get with people and maybe Zoom or get together at McDonald's or something and work together if that's necessary, I encourage it. I know study groups got me through college in some of the really, really hard courses. When I was in engineering school, and there'd be 5, 6, 7, 8 of us all sitting around a table working some of the problems. And sometimes I actually had the chance to witness this today. I had 3 students in my office, and I was trying to explain something, and I was failing fantastically. And one of the students explained it in a completely different way, and the other 2 go, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." And I just spent 5 minutes babbling. So sometimes somebody just has a different view or a different way of explaining something that may click with you. So I mean, I know it, like I said, I know it'd be a little bit of a chore, but if you can get together with some of them, it'll obviously help. 2, 3, or 4 heads are better than 1. Where are we going now here? Okay, so let's talk about grades again real quick. There's a new policy that you will get an email as soon as I get it written, and also it'll be reflected in the syllabus. There's been a pandemic of late work in not only our courses, but a lot of other courses and the other campuses. So we're trying to tighten this down to make it fair and equitable for everybody, but still have a deadline and that we have to meet. So what I've come up with, and like I said, you ladies guinea pigs right now, is week 1 work is of course doing week 1. Now, I will give you to the end of week 2 to get week 1's work in. If you do week 1's work and turn it in at week 2, you will lose 1 letter grade. So if you go in and you don't do the week 1 test on week 1, you wait till next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to do, that's fine. But if you make a 95 on it, your grade will be reflected as an 85. Once week 2 is over with, week 1 is closed down. And the only way to get open back up is have to be a very serious occurrence. I don't want to extend the, give people unlimited extensions on able to, or, unlimited room and time to do these things, because what inevitably happens is everybody piles in on week 4. And also affects your attendance. And when that happens, it becomes, I get buried like I did this last time under an avalanche of late work. And so it's, and also people trying to squeeze 4 weeks worth of work into 4 days. It's not fair to you guys. You're not actually learning or absorbing anything. You're just kicking out answers as quickly as possible to make a grade. It also puts stress on you, and it's not fair to me because it puts extra work and extra stress on me. So I'm trying to avoid all that, make it fair for everyone. And I think having an extra week to do your work is more than fair with a very small penalty. Now, I had a professor at OSU. She, and just show you how bad it can be. She was a real one. She, they had the doors, regular like classroom doors where you can lock it from the outside, but you can get out with the push bar. And the door was open, but when class started, when it was time for class to start, she walked back there and she closed that door and it was locked from the outside. And if you were in there, you were just out of luck. You missed the class. And if you happen to have homework to turn in that day, you just didn't get any credit for it. It was brutal. And so nobody wants to be like that. So I think, what we're doing here, this experiment is more than fair and equitable, and I hope it works out for everybody. Now, it doesn't mean that if you don't have an issue, if you have an issue, because we understand COVID, kids get sick, car wrecks. For me, it's been my mom has been sick for, I've been driving back and forth to Missouri the last month. So I go Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I work in the office. Wednesday, when I get off work, I shoot over to Missouri. Then on Thursday morning, I make sure I get up, make sure she's taken care of. Then I go to McDonald's and work for a few hours, come make sure she has lunch and is ready to, for the rest of her day. Go back to McDonald's, work work until dinner time because she lives out in the boonies. She doesn't have any good internet. And then come back, give her supper, and then I usually stick me working Thursday, Friday, some Saturday, some Sunday. Then I get up about 4 o'clock Sunday morning, and I drive in from Missouri into Tulsa to be at the office at 8 o'clock. So I don't expect that from you guys by any means. So when stuff happens, just let me know and we can make exceptions. But I want them to be the exceptions, not the rule. I'm trying to flip them back on their head into the proper way they're supposed to be. So hopefully, does anybody have any, and this is open forum, no judgments, any questions or concerns, or want to have a conversation about that policy that's coming up that we're going to use this time around? And if you think it's unfair and I'm being a jerk, speak now, because I'm not sensitive. And I've also found that when you hold people to a deadline, including yourself, that people actually get work done. If you give them too much time, they wait till the last minute, and sometimes you may get away with it one, two, three, 4 times. You may be able to slide on through, but eventually it's going to bite you square in the butt, and it'll be bad. And then and these classes are too expensive to go through them and not pass them and then have to retake them and pay for them again. Nobody wants that to happen. I mean, I don't mind you guys paying twice, but you might. And so, like I said, fair, equitable, setting forth a standard. There are exceptions to the rule. I think it'll work very well. Bob doesn't think it's going to work, so I'm also on a mission to prove Bob Panero wrong. But he said, nope. Hey, I got some people I had to go through business math twice, and you don't think they hate me? I know they curse my name. They probably have a voodoo doll with pins all in it. So yes, we don't want to go through anything twice, and plus it's just adulting. There because business math is hard. Yes, it can be, and and also it's just adulting. We all have deadlines, and one of the reasons, well, I was going to say, so you can do week 3, and it will be due at the end of week 4. I do. Okay, just let's see if I can. Here you go, Penny. Or was it Penny? No, it's Laura. So if you're ever in my office, you'll see Star Wars, Harry Potter, Doctor Who, X-Files. So you name it, my office is decorated as nerdy as they come. This is what happens when you give a child a job and a credit card. You get that. At least loves Doctor Who. Who doesn't? and you also, and you also get a guy who spends way too much money on his motorcycle and his restoring his alpha. And like I said, men are children. We never grow up. And so just on the side of Lisa, you caught up on Doctor Who? I have not seen the regeneration yet, so don't give me any spoilers. But um, granddaughter got her name for Doctor Who. What's your granddaughter's name? Rose, Amy, Amelia,
Melody.
Melody. Nice, nice. Melody Pond. Come along, Pond. The 15 minutes price of toys. That's right. Um, so I don't even know. I'm all sidetracked now, but so this is blah, blah, blah. We know what the policy is, and we're going to move forward. Home. Okay, good, because no spoilers, at least. Okay, let's look at this 21 tips. Most of you have seen this thing, so I'm just gonna go through it real quick. You have access to it. I'm usually not a big fan of articles like this online, but this one happens to be a pretty decent one. And it's telling you things you already know. There is nothing new in this. It's just put in a format before you so you can look at it and go, oh, okay, right. I I forgot about that, or it's right. I need to remember that. Some of them set a major goal. I think that one's probably already taken care of because you're here. So you're hopefully you're not here just to burn time. That this is just a part of a much larger picture in your life, and hopefully it'll be a pleasant part and something you look back on with fond memories. But so I believe that one's already taken care of. Treating study like a treat study like a job, not a you hate, job you love. Okay. Let's treat it like a job, not like work. Those are two different things. Because I didn't have a job all day today. I had to work all day today, and it was brutal. Well, I had a class that had so many issues that I couldn't get to come up because there was a problem. One of the old instructors had started setting it up, and so it was under his name, but he was no longer here. And so I could get into it, but I couldn't change anything in it. And so eventually we had to get Cengage involved, and I spent half my morning doing that. It was just one of those things. So, and that's the other reason for our deadlines too, is because we've got to have a little bit of cushion for when the unexpected happens. Otherwise, then you're really, really, really in trouble. Manage your time carefully. Time management. Why that's one of these dedicated study blocks. You guys know your schedule, okay? But I would say at least daily, try to spend some time on your homework, just a little bit, whether it's 15 minutes or an hour or whatever you can afford. Because I know we all have children. Was it the last class that I had from 6 to 7? One young lady has 5 of them, and she works 12-hour shifts. So yeah, that is brutal. So she's got to be really careful with her time management in order to be successful. Find a quiet space and eliminate distractions. Now, I don't know if anybody else is like me, but too quiet is a distraction. If it is too quiet, I cannot work. So if you ever come to my office, you'll see I always have my earbuds on, and I'm playing a podcast or something in the background. Not that I'm always paying attention to it, but it's just some noise, and it helps me concentrate. Some people use music. I worked with a lady who it had to be completely quiet. She would close her office off, and it would, silence, and that's how she worked. So this works for a lot of people, but for me, too quiet is a distraction. For some reason, I just concentrate. Limit social media. Use online sources. Break down tasks. What is it? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Okay. So when you have an overwhelming task, break it up into smaller pieces, smaller projects that you can complete one step at a time. mentally engaged, and I'm going to go. And the way I do it is when I'm, some people do it by time. Hey, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to work on my homework for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, and then I'm going to take a 5-minute break. Or, I'm going to reward myself by going on Facebook, or, going and getting a cup of coffee, or whatever it is to kind of break it up. I do it per project. If I have a thing I want to accomplish, like getting all my attendance done for that week, I sit down and I'm going to do the attendance, and then my reward, which you'll see here, is there'll be a reward yourself down here. Will be to get up, and stretch and take a break, and then I'll go back to the next project, next thing I need to accomplish. So it just depends on whoever it is. I think I already talked about study teams. 3 or 4 heads are better than one. Ask questions. Ask as many questions as you want here on email. I'll do my best to answer them as quickly as possible. In business math this last time, I was so slow, I think, in answering, because it was such a large class. I had so many questions. I got on Saturday morning, and I said I'll go in for a couple hours, answer everybody's questions on WebAssign, because you have a little button that says ask the teacher and I can help you out. So I had like 30 of them. I was like, well, crap. So I knock all 30 of them out and I refresh it after like a little over 2 hours of doing that. And then I had 35. I was like, oh, Jesus. So, I try to answer questions as timely as possible. But you realize with a big class, the class before you guys has 30 people. So when I'm trying to juggle both these classes and 45 people, sometimes I don't get back to you as quickly as you would like. If, like I said, if it's an emergency, you have a number. If you have something that really needs answered quickly, you can always give me a call as well. And beat deadlines. If things are due on Wednesday, try to have them done on Tuesday. If they're due on Sunday, try to have them done by Friday. What I always tell people is try to use Monday through Friday if possible, knowing your schedule. People have work schedules and children and everything else. If you can get everything done by Friday, you can take the weekend off. There's no trying to do this 7 days a week. You will burn yourself out. We don't want that. And then finally, reward yourself. Job well done. Go get a Snickers, Miss Monroe, whatever you need. So that is that. Look at my time. All right, and the next thing, I am going to make sure I'm sharing my sound. And most of you have seen before, this is Dr. Jordan Peterson, like a 5-minute video on why it's so hard to get things done. I think it doesn't give you any answers. It just gives you the reasons why, and then you can seek the answers for yourself. The individual way that you can help control what's going on in your own brain, or try to, the processes that help you work. So no solutions, just explanations.
I'm a 27-year-old transgender woman. I am a wolf therian and a member of the furry fandom.
When and
So
how
the
did
weirdest
you
thing I heard there
discover
was
this inner
furry.
wolfness?
Your attention, for example, is mediated by unconscious forces.
Can everybody hear that? Okay.
Your attention, for example, is mediated by unconscious forces. And you know that perfectly well. And this is another Freudian observation. If you're sitting down to study, for example, your conscious intent is to study. But you know perfectly well that all sorts of distraction fantasies are going to enter the theater of your imagination non-stop and annoyingly. And there isn't really a lot you can do about that except maybe wait it out. So you'll be sitting there reading and your attention will flicker away. You'll think about, I don't know, maybe you want to watch Jane the Virgin on Netflix or something like that. Or maybe it's time to have a peanut butter sandwich, or you should get the dust bunnies out from underneath the bed, or it's time to go outside and have a cigarette, or maybe it's time for a cup of coffee. Or it's like all these subsystems in you that would like something aren't very happy just to sit there while you read this thing that you're actually bored by, and so they pop up and try to take control of your perceptions and your actions non-stop. Maybe you think, well, this is a stupid course anyways, why do I have to read this damn paper, and what am I doing in university, and what's the point of life? It's like you can really get going if you're trying to avoid doing your homework, and then you might think, well, what is it in you that's trying to avoid? Because after all, you took the damn course and you told yourself to sit down. Why don't you listen? Well, because you're a mess. That's basically why. You haven't got control over yourself at all. And no more than I have control over this laptop. Okay, so there's the memory function of the unconscious, and there's the dissolutive function. That's an interesting one. The unconscious contains habits, once voluntary, now automatized, and dissociated elements of the personality, which may lead a parasitic existence. That's an interesting one. I would relate that more to procedural memory. You know, so what you've done is practice certain habits, whatever they might be, let's call them bad habits, and you like those things to get under control, but you can't. So maybe when you're speaking, for example, you use like and you know, and you say a lot, and you've practiced that, so you're really good at it, and you'd like to stop it, but you don't get to, because you've built that little machine right into your being, right? It's neurologically wired, and it's not under conscious control, and anything you practice becomes that. It becomes part of you, and that's another element of the unconscious, a different part. And then there's a creative part, which is that, well, you know, you're sitting around and maybe you're trying to write something, or maybe you want to produce a piece of art or a piece of music, or maybe you're just laying in bed dreaming and you have all these weird ideas, and especially in dreams, it's like, where do those things come from? And even more strange, one of the things that's really weird about dreams, and almost impossibly weird, is that you're an observer in the dream. It's like a dream is something that happens to you. Well, you're dreaming it, theoretically, so how is it that you can be an observer? It's almost like you're watching a video game or a movie, but you're producing it, at least in principle, although the psychoanalysts would say, well, no, not exactly. Your ego isn't producing it, your unconscious is producing it. It's a different thing. It's a different thing, and of course Jung would say, well, it's deeper than that. The collective unconscious might be producing it. It's, in some sense, it isn't you exactly, or it isn't the you that you think of when you think of you. And that's the ego from the Freudian perspective, the you that you identify with. That's the ego. And outside of that is the unconscious. The id, that's more the place of impulses, and you could think about those as the biological subsystems that can derail your thinking, right? And that govern things like hunger and sex and aggression and your basic instincts is another way of putting it. And it's a reasonable way of thinking about it, because these are subsystems that you share with animals. You share them certainly with mammals, you share most of them with reptiles, you share a lot of them with amphibians, and even going all the way down to crustaceans, there's commonality, for example, in the dominance hierarchy circuits. And so these are very, very old things, and the idea that you're in control of them is, well, you're not exactly in control of them. And I would say the less integrated you are, the less you're in control of them, and the more they're in control of you. And that can get really out of hand, you know. You can be like with people who have obsessive compulsive disorder, for example, which seems to be, I would say, the dissolutive elements in some sense of the unconscious, the way that it's portrayed here. Poor people with obsessive compulsive disorder, they can spend half their time doing things that they can't really control, and they have very strong impulses to do them, and it's very hard on them to block them. You know, they'll almost panic if those things are blocked. And then you have people with Tourette's syndrome, you know, that they'll be doing all sorts of weird dances and spouting off obscenities and imitating people without being able to control it, and sometimes a little bit of antipsychotic medication can dampen that down, but it's as if there are these autonomous semi-spirits inside of them that grip control over their behavior and make them do things. And you know, you find that to some degree in your own life, because maybe you've become very attracted to someone, even maybe you don't want to be attracted to the person, and then you find yourself, you know, texting them when you know perfectly well that you should be going to bed, and you know, you're in a grip of something, and you can't control it, and that's all part of the unconscious and all part of what Freud was studying.
So anyway,
here are the Navy SEALs.
always find that interesting. You know, here's the why. Now, how do we control it? Well, You know, that's up to us each individually. I would address Blenda said, always prepare for the worst. Absolutely. Absolutely. What can happen will happen eventually. And like I said, you know, a little over a month ago, nobody expected, you know, that I was going to have to go spend a week with my mom in the hospital and then drive back for her to take care of her. You know, my brother was helping, my sister-in-law, but you know, it became a family effort to make sure she was taken care of. And so and she's getting a lot better. She's getting a lot better. It's just slow going. So same thing with sick kids and getting COVID. I know I had COVID at the beginning of the pandemic and it was terrible. I was sick for 2 months. And then I had Omicron right before I came to work here, and that was a week of crap. But I was in bed for 3 days. I wasn't doing anything, no work, nothing. So we know these things happen. Let's prepare for them if we can, and if you need more time, let's discuss it. Okay, so last thing on the agenda, we're going to go to our assignments here. And when you click on these assignments, these are all going to be in Cengage. You'll click on one, click on it here. Pardon me. And of course, it'll let me go on as test student. All right, Stephen. What am I doing here? Okay. Always forget to do that. Leave student view. There we go. Back to assignments. It works a little different for me. There, that should take us to Cengage. There we go. And it will take you directly to that assignment. So when you go to this assignment, you will see there are 22 questions. Now, this is where I was talking about. This is Cengage MindTap, but it's also formatted what they use as Applia. Applia gives you one shot at the assignment. All right. So be very, very careful now, because what happens if you want to try to retake it and do better, which is perfectly fine, you have to get a hold of me. I have to go in. I have to delete the one you did completely out and then give you another shot at it. So it's not like they don't let you set it up where some of the other MindTap is you have 2 or 3 tries, depending on how I set it up. There's nothing for that. So we have to be, you know, really deliberate in the assignments in this class. And I think there's a couple other classes that are the same way. I'm not a real fan of it, but there's just no way around it. We're kind of stuck with what we have. So we'll go in, we'll answer a question. Which of the following statements is true of millennials? Oof, I got a few of those, but I'll leave it alone. I raised 2 of them, so they're a different animal. They shaped the internet. They approached adulthood planning to work for success. They were born between 1975 and 1980, and they did not feel entitled to a great job when they were in college. I have no idea. I will say that and go over here and do the check my work, and it'll tell you got it wrong, so you get another bite at it. There we go, got it right that time. We can move on to the next question. So you do get multiple chances on each question, but once you submit the assignment, that's done unless you want me to go in and delete it and start it over. So you have to make the decision on, do you want to keep that grade, or do you want, you know, me to delete it out and do it all over again and hope you get a better grade? Because once it's gone, it's gone. And then once you're done, that's what questions, you submit it for grading. It will give you your score, and we will move on. Now, thought. Okay. These are the assignments, chapter 1, week 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, all on week 1. You'll see the ones that with the orange here have, they do count towards a grade. Okay, so those are the ones you're actually going to do. So you don't even have to go through Canvas. You can go straight into Cengage, go into your course, and go into these as well. And you'll see also due dates here. This one is due. I didn't change due dates on those because they don't go for a grade. This one's due on Wednesday. This one's due on Wednesday. This one should be due on Sunday. This one should be due on Sunday. Chapter 2 assignment says it's not available. Is that in Canvas, Natisha? Let's look here. This one right here.
Which one are you showing?
Oh,
Because I
chapter 2 concept quiz.
not the quiz, the assignment.
I don't have a chapter 2
Because
assignment.
I like click on it and it tells me it's not available at the moment. Let me.
I don't see it. Let me look here.
Okay.
Look like a student.
That one where it
Okay,
says check. The thing is that one.
This one right here.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh. Okay. And you're probably, until I can get that fixed, just go into Cengage
Okay.
and go to it from there. And I will see, I guess we have a broken link or something,
Okay.
which happens now and then. Sometimes you leave a class perfectly fine, and then it has a mind of its own.
Okay.
So if you come across that, just go directly into Cengage and go to it directly, and then shoot me an email and let me know. I'll try to take time the next day or so to look at everything and
Okay.
make sure it's up and running. Sorry about that. Thanks for the help though.
You're welcome.
All right, so we have any questions on how Cengage is going to work? Linda said nope. All right, so where are we at here? Okay. And once again, a lot of stuff you need to know is going to be right here. And this big button here will also, I forgot to mention, will take you to Cengage as well. It's not going to let me in because I am still in the student view like a big dummy. And since that one, Natisha, that you pointed out, your grade will not automatically show up in Canvas. I will have to fix that or put it in
Okay.
manually. But you will also be able to see your grades here.
Yeah,
You
I've
should be able to
done.
look
I
at-
think I've done maybe 2 assignments already, and my grades have already shown up.
Oh, look, I didn't know. I wasn't trying to show your grades because I didn't know
Oh.
you'd already done something. No. So, but yeah, you'll be able to look at your grades, and you also have upcoming assignments, things of that nature. Do some exploring around. You shouldn't be able to mess anything up, and if you do, shouldn't be anything we shouldn't be able to fix. Okay, so it's 8:25. We don't have a whole lot of time left. I'm going to go ahead and officially end the class, and if you need to stick around and have any questions or concerns, I will stick around for that. So Stop my share and stop recording.